All right, let's talk about something we see all the time, but maybe don't fully understand: fire. I mean, it's this amazing chemical reaction that can cook our dinner, but it can also be incredibly destructive. So, what is it really? Let's get into it. Fire can seem so chaotic, so random, but it's not. It actually follows a really strict set of rules. It's not some kind of magic, it's just chemistry. And it all boils down to one simple question. Probably the easiest way to think about fire is to imagine it's a recipe. Seriously, it needs a very specific list of ingredients, all coming together in just the right way for the magic to happen. Okay, so the official sciencey term is combustion, and you see that word in there, exothermic. All that means is that the reaction releases energy. That's the heat we feel. It's what makes fire hot, but we can make this way, way simpler. So let's forget the complicated words for a second. At the end of the day, you only need to remember three basic things. If you have these three ingredients together at the same time, you're gonna get a fire. It's that predictable.
And this is all wrapped up in a super simple concept called the fire triangle. So on one side, you have fuel. That's just the stuff that burns. Wood, paper, gas, you name it. Then you need an oxidant, which is almost always just the oxygen that's all around us in the air. And finally, you need heat, the spark that gets the whole party started. Now here's the crucial part. If you take away just one of those three sides, the fire goes out. Just like that.
So that leads us to a pretty important question, right? I mean, we're surrounded by fuel and oxygen all the time. So where does that third vital ingredient, the heat, actually come from? Well, in the fire safety world, we call these things ignition sources. They're the ones that provide that little bit of energy, that spark or flame needed to complete the triangle. And they pop up in a few common ways. And believe me, these sources are everywhere. You've got your thermal sources, like a hot stovetop or an open flame. You have electrical ones, like a spark from some bad wiring. You even have that little zap from static electricity. Then there's mechanical sources, like friction, and of course, the big ones from Mother Nature, lightning. The point is, these things aren't rare. They're part of our world. Okay, so a fire needs three things to start. We got that. But what makes fire so incredibly dangerous isn't just how it starts, it's how it travels. How does one little spark turn into a monster? It turns out fire moves in four main ways. And if you understand these, you can see just how quickly a small problem can get completely out of hand. First up, we've got conduction. This is heat traveling right through a solid object. So picture a metal beam inside a wall. A fire in one room could heat that beam up so much that it starts a fire in the next room, even though the flame never actually went through the wall. Next, there's convection. You know how people always say heat rises? Well, that's this. Hot air and smoke from a fire rush upwards, and they carry a ton of heat with them. That's a huge reason why fires can spread so incredibly fast from a lower floor to an upper floor. Third is radiation, and this one is kind of wild. A fire can actually heat up something all the way across the room until it just bursts into flames, without anything ever touching it. It's sending out heat waves through the air, exactly like how the sun warms your face from millions of miles away. And finally, we have projection. This is when little burning pieces of the fuel, glowing embers and sparks, get tossed into the air. They land somewhere else on a fresh pile of fuel and boom, you've just started a whole new fire. So let's just tie this all together. The fire triangle shows us how a fire gets born, and these four methods, conduction, convection, radiation, and projection, show us how it grows up and travels. When you understand that process, you understand how to break the chain. And that knowledge right there is the absolute foundation of fire safety. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Just for a second, look around whatever room you're in right now. The oxygen is a given, it's there. But what about the other two? Can you spot the potential fuels? Can you identify the possible ignition sources? Thinking like this isn't about being paranoid, it's about being aware. And that awareness is the first and most powerful step toward keeping yourself safe.